Hello, welcome. This is a special episode where I will provide you a detailed explanation or overview what has happened on 6th night in the Operation Sindoor, which is the day one Operation Sindoor. I will answer query related to the Rafale mystery. I will answer query related to how many assets we lost and how we lost. It will have a animation, obviously. I will also provide you details of what number of Pakistani assets we downed, mainly the jets and strategic assets. Maybe it's not on 6th, it is on 10th, but I will provide all the details with tail number, with location and everything, right? And obviously how we kill them. So that's how we'll do, and we will also take different components of the day one fight. Obviously, this entire elaboration or evidences which I have collected is from obviously from radar images, both in infrared as well as electromagnetic radar images of Israel and Kazakhstan, and I got that from OSINT, Open Source Intelligence Network. Sorry for delay because those data were very costly, like 1 month back also. So I have to bid for those data and get that data. Those data are trustworthy because I have actually validated with the model numbers of those radars, and also got all the signatures, which is obviously valid signatures for both the infrared and electromagnetic radars, right? So I will try to explain all my stories, my explanation, and also the components of entire events that happened that night based on the radar images and to some degree of open source intelligence information. So that's how we will do the entire episode. It will be slightly longer. I will request to have some patience because I cannot create a small video because it is more complicated and detailed with evidences. So that's how it has become a much larger video. So let's delve into the with episode. Thank you. So this is the main chapter where we'll discuss about what has happened on 6th and 7th, 6th night and 7th early morning. Now, there are a lot of disinformation that are going on. I will try to kind of focus on what happened. I have all the radar images, both electromagnetic and IR infrared, and based on that, I've tried to create that story what has happened. Around 11:30, a small number of, I will not give you the formation, but small number of Indian aircraft started making sortie for the recon. So we have done that on 4th and 5th also, and we have disguised it in the name of war game for next day. So we have done similar sorties on 4th and 5th, and same thing happened on 6th night, right? So it started. There is some slowly build up on the sortie number of formation that was being provided by the entire data. And the sortie includes multiple formation, but no formation was attacking formation. Everything was recon formation. So entire press conference data, what Pakistan Air Force has given, is entirely wrong and fabricated. Initially, there were around 30 to 35, 36 aircraft, with primarily being Rafale 1, Sukhoi, Mirage, and later MiG-29 joined the entire formation. The larger formation or the final formation happened around 12 Pakistan time. Whatever time I'm mentioning, it is based on the Pakistan Standard Time, PST, not Indian Standard Time. So we can just add 30 minutes to the time to get the Indian Standard Time. So around 12 o'clock midnight Pakistan Standard Time, the formation was done. Again, the formation is still recon formation. there was recon formation, they're going back, and then the second formation is coming, and they are again reinforcing the core formation. So that's how it's going on till 12:10, when the formation began to change. So the formation began to change. I will say that there are around 10 Rafales that have taken part. There are around uh, more than 24 Sukhoi. All these Rafales are from Ambala Air Base. No Rafales are taken down or taken from or taken part from Hasimara Air Base. The Sukhoi has been mixed bags. The Mirage has been mixed bags. There were some aircrafts at the back end where Tejas was doing the patrolling. So this is what has been the stand around 12:10. The formation started to change, and it went into more a stand-up formation. Stand-up formation means a formation where we will use the stand-off weapons, right? So once set goes and fire the missile, take a high G maneuver, the next set comes and go and fire the missile. And it was in primarily there were around 70, more than 70 Indian aircrafts in the final formation, and majority of them was actually taking Muridke and Bhavalpur, and there are many, slightly around 40% of the 70, like how much I can say around 48 was targeting Muridke and Bhavalpur, and rest 72 minus 48, right, 24 was actually supporting Indian Air Force, who are targeting other sites. So I will talk only about these 48 aircrafts who are targeting the Muridke and Bhavalpur. Around 12:25. So I've shown that screen. This is the, if you see the look at the screen, it shows again that our target, the Indian Air Force target, was Muridke and Bhavalpur. So 7 is Muridke near Lahore, and Bhavalpur is southern side, and rest were targeted by Indian Air Force. This was the formation as per the final formation, the recon formation, like 12:12 PST. We started changing the formation from recon formation to stand-off formation. I will not show the formation actually, but these were the clusters of the Indian Air Force, and this was the state of the Pakistan Air Force, which is on red. And if you see, they are not in defensive, or rather not in defensive formation. They are all in weak formation. So they actually understood that, or maybe practicing every day, that there will be some attack and we might have a engagement in air and we have to attack them. So that was their formation. And I don't see these are the DCA packages as mentioned by Pakistani Air Force chief, right? This was 12. This is where the engagement has started. So our engagement started around 12:30, 30ish. Though this snapshot I'm providing, I have masked the 30. So I'm masking all the radar images which are critical to Indian Air Force. I don't want to disclose that. I want to disclose few snapshots which I have projecting in the screen, so that it doesn't amplify anything against the Indian Air Force, or which provides some information which is against the national security, right? So if you see, they are in the formation of, these are weak formation, which is the attack formation, and this is the AWACS system, which is actually running, which is actually flying, and they're providing all the intelligence to the J-10C, JF-17 and F-16. They were around 110 aircraft, 120 aircraft, and we were around 70 aircraft. So they were around 180 to 190 estimated aircraft in the sky, both Indian airspace and Pakistan airspace. So I have masked our cluster. I have provided the cluster, but I have masked the actual formation. So this is the snapshot of 35 when we are engaging with them, when we are throwing firing out all the Scalp missile, Hammer missile, and Rampage missile. And obviously the Haruk drone is there for reinforcement, for doing all the kamikaze activity, and also doing some recon and photography activity, right? Then comes 38. So 38 is where they were actually keeping a safe distance of around 150 to 200 kilometers because of S-400, because our intention was not clear. They were not able to understand our intention, and they were keeping a safe distance from our border because of S-400. Similarly, they have deployed AWACS quite far, and this is probably everyone will do because they want to keep their strategic assets slightly far away, and that's what will happen, right? So this was 35. We actually fired all our ammunition. This is the 38. Now 35 and 38. Still we have, so this is 35 to 38. This is where Dr. Jaishankar's or the Ministry of External Communication came, that we are not intended to fire your military, civil or nuclear site. We are just hitting your terrorist sites, and we are done with our operation, and we don't want to escalate. Until and unless you escalate, we are going back to our base, right? So this was the last snapshot. That's why I'm saying that communication between Jaishankar and Foreign Office of Pakistan happened between 35 to 38. And now they understood that, okay, now since their intention is to just hit the target and their intention is not to escalate, that means their S-400 will not target us. And they had that bold advantage now. They know that they have a long handle, right? That's what that Pakistan Air Force Field Marshal told. I mean, Jet Center of Gravity told that it's a long stick because they have PL-15, not PL-15E, right? Now this is, we are going to base, and they are actually coming towards us and chasing and firing their PL-15 missile. So you see that suddenly something goes away. That means these are not plane down. These are the Indian planes going towards their airbase, Indian airbase, and landing. It's not downing. These are landing, right? So this is what has happened. So entire episode started from 11:50 to 12:50, 1 hour. And actually, the recon started from 12:10. Recon happened till 12:25. We changed the formation from 12:25 to 12:30 to stand-up formation, from recon formation to stand-up formation. From 12:30 to 12:40, we actually fired all the three missiles. In the meantime, the Ministry of External Affairs Communication came to the Foreign Office of Pakistan. They understood that we don't want to escalate, and they targeted our Rafale from 35 to 40. And there was an extensive engagement. I will come to that engagement while I discuss, and then I will go for the animation, right? So there has been extensive engagement that happened that night. Now, there are two set of clusters with which we attacked. So one set was a set of Rafale attacking with a standoff distance, and Sukhoi giving the cover to the Rafale. Another set, Sukhoi attacking, Rafale giving the cover, right? This was the strategy, and since Sukhoi was integrated with Rampage, and actually Sukhoi was firing the Rampage, and Scalp and Hammer was fired by this one Rafale. Significant contribution was made by Mirage. Significant contribution was made by Mirage by covering these flights and also escorting these flights, and also giving all the RT radio transmission reinforcement, and all the night outs, right? Like when I do a maneuvering and then they form that they go for a reverse formation, and then suddenly the reinforcement has to come. So Mirage has all the Mirage fighter pilots, hats off to them, big birds. So they have given a lot of strength and foundational to all these attacking formations. So every fighter category has taken their area of responsibility to their core. Su-30 Mk has actually a flanker, and also did air supremacy role, air dominance role, and air supremacy role. Rafale has also done air supremacy, air dominance role. Uh, uh, Mirage has done purely a air denial role, reinforcement and air denial role. Similarly, Su-30 has also done air denial role. Tejas has to be also in the fray, because Tejas is also doing some degree of patrolling across the international border, so that there is no aircraft that can come, because radar, it also has Astra, and it also have a certain degree of good radar. So in fact, that night it has chased a JF-17 in the international border, down in the southern side. It has locked into one of the JF-17 and chased that JF-17, and then when it tried to enter the it didn't enter the Pakistan border LOC, didn't cross the LOC, and just disable the lock. You don't want to engage, because that night they don't want to engage, right? But to be honest, that day one JF-17 was locked by our Tejas Mk1, right? That's a very good news for our own industry. Now the question comes that we are talking about Indian Air Force, we are talking about Indian Army. Indian Navy has played a very important role in entire operation. So I talked about uh, cold start doctrine in the initial chapter. So if Navy was not there, that invisible hand holding a gun to Pakistan's head, and just was willing to pull the trigger, if that was not the posture, Indian Air Force would have. I mean, there will be difficult posturing that we have to entertain that time. Otherwise, it will be difficult for for us to just fire those missiles and come back with all our VVR disadvantages, right? All our VVR disadvantages. So that was one of the aspect that if you hit our, they have hit our Rafale, not hit our Rafale. They have thought hit our Rafale, but there are a lot of deception that happened. But if in genuine case they would have hit our assets, I think so. It would have been a highly escalated warfare where Navy would have involved, and they know if Navy would have involved, then probably there will be no Karachi that time, right? That was the posture we had. So I guess India didn't escalate it, because India didn't lost that significant assets. I will discuss about what they lost. And Pakistan thought they have made a lot of headwind in terms of hitting our Rafale, but they are actually, it's a game of deception that they couldn't understood. They're fooled, and our entire flight actually grounded. Now I will try to tell with graphics and animation what has happened. So I will first explain the deception, and then where the hits are, right? So that I will explain. So now I will try to depict with a very crude, not very, average kind of animation. I didn't get time to do a proper animation, but I will try to explain what has happened. So there are many deceptions. So this war, Operation Sindoor, on day one, will be remembered in the history of air warfare as a classical case of highly technical tactics and war of deception that Pakistan couldn't understood. So I will provide you with few deception where Pakistan thought that they have hit our target, but actually they didn't. And I will give you in the animation form. The first deception is with Bansi and Abhyas. I've given that what is Bansi and Abhyas in my earlier chapters. So these Bansi and Abhyas are actually aircrafts where we install electronic warfare suite to kind of disguise uh, enemy aircrafts or enemy radio or the ground station, right? AVAX ground station. So here also we did the same thing. We installed. So if you see the diagram, you have, this is the Su-30 MKI, and this is the Abhyas, and this is J10C. Though it will be a J15, a J17, J50, J17, but let's consider it's a J10C. and this is the ground station, and this is the Indian ICCS, right? So the problem we had was how to disguise, because they have a very uh, we had a problem with the BVR capability. If we don't use this disguise, they will shoot our plane through those missile, because their range of BVR is 140 kilometers. To be honest, India thought we had made. I missed that one part was when we are attacking the terror site, 9 terror site, and we understood our assumption, our calculation of what will be the standoff distance, what will be the standoff height, what will be the buffer zone, what will be the kill zone or no escape zone for the PL-15E missile, was on the basic assumption that Pakistan has PL-15E, which has a range of 150 kilometers. We have not, we have not, um, uh, like our intelligence failure was that we didn't estimated that they had PL-15. Actually, China has provided with PL-15 missile, right, which has a range of 250 kilometers. And when the pilots were in the air, when the pilots were in the air, they suddenly realized, ground radar suddenly realized, the missile, the PL-15E missile, which we thought PL-15E is actually a PL-15, because the the range is going very far from I mean, significantly speed. I mean, they are measuring the speed, and based on the speed and trajectory, they realized it is actually PL-15, which has a range of 250 kilometers. And all the pilots on air have to, on a real-time basis, in a span of say 30 seconds, has to decide on their change in warfare tactics, right? They have to realign their calculation of what should be the standoff distance, what will be the kill zone or no escape zone, and based on that they have to take all the possible strategy, because their entire scenario has changed now. Now it's PL-15, not PL-15E. That's one thing. Then again they realized, I discussed in the tactics what 3 tactics we missed. China was providing real-time data. They're doing a kill chain, and that was also, we thought that they will do kill chain, but not a 360-degree kill chain. It will be around say at least 2/3 kill chain, which is how much, like around 270-degree kill chain, where one component will be done by plane, and then we can realize that okay, this thing is a we can identify if more than firing, any other activities done by that particular aircraft. So kill chain is another thing that Chinese satellite was giving real-time data. Then third strategy, tactical mistake we did was, uh, we estimated that the sub AWACS, the early warning aircraft which Pakistan had, they have 6 actually, but the more modern one was 2. That these will be integrated with the with the satellite, Chinese satellite. That was an estimation which probably it's a wrong estimates we did, or wrong calculation we did. These 3 tactical mistakes actually made us look slightly foolish in the air when we are attacking, and we realized that later point of time, and then we tried to kind of reorganize our tactics in the very short span of time. And hats off to those fighter pilots and ground radar operators and technicians, and all the strategies that they were providing, all those intel information towards that. So that's a significant amount of disadvantage we had, that apart from BVR, these 3 tactical assumption mistakes we did. So this is what I am trying to depict. So this is J10C, this is DRDO Abhyas, and Abhyas is actually replicating SU-30 MKI radio image, right? Now if I move, so the J10C targets the Abhyas, and he's thinking that it is targeting SU-30 MKI, and it launched the PL-15. It is going towards the Abhyas. Now suddenly the Abhyas disable the EW suite, or it is a EW suite developed by DRDO. So they disable the EW suite, and suddenly this missile got confused, and they're chasing a ghost frequency. See, generally, if a missile is jammed, that falls, doesn't explode. And if a missile chases a ghost frequency, it will lose its rocket fuel and maneuvering, and suddenly either it will explode or it will drop based on the logic of the entire missile uh, electronic component, right? So EW is off, electronic warfare is off, and suddenly the lock is lost, and this missile got confused, and the Su-30 MKI is saved. So it's a disguise number one, deception number one. So another deception they have done. What is the deception number two? Deception number two is using Rafale XGuard. That was using Bansi Abhyas. This is using XGuard. I discussed about XGuard. What is XGuard? So, so this is Rafale, and let's call it a J-10C. And this is the ground radar of Pakistan. And this distance between ground and Rafale height is less than 1,000 feet. And this is a low observability flight level. This is done to evade the radar. Radar cannot understand because it's a lower terrain. So this Rafale goes up. Now it reaches the standoff distance. It reaches the standoff distance. It fires the Scalp missile and also simultaneously deploy the XGuard. This XGuard is actually a fiber optics cable, and a buoy and a component is deployed at the back, which is a electronic component and which mimic the Rafale's signature, both heat signature as well as electromagnetic signature. So these radar or any radar in Pakistan side will think that this is the actual Rafale and this is not the actual Rafale. So Rafale fired the Scalp missile, simultaneously deployed the XGuard. Sorry. Now take a high G maneuver, go up, and now once the radar sees it, once the Pakistan radar sees it, locks and fire the PL-15 missile. This PL-15 missile has a longer range, 250 kilometer. Now it goes close to the XGuard component, and then suddenly XGuard is deactivated. So XGuard is retracted and deactivated. Missile lock lost. When a missile lock lost such a close proximity, missile will do nothing. It will chase a ghost frequency. It will chase a ghost frequency. And simultaneously, once the XGuard is deactivated, the Rafale electronic jamming is activated, which is called spectra. Like this is the spectra, and this missile is jammed. Once this is a bubble of the area zone, the spectra can jam. So this missile is jammed and it falls in Indian territory, and this Rafale is saved. So to be honest, 6 Rafales were actually locked. 6 Rafales was locked, and 5 Rafales was actually saved by XGuard that day. And out of those 5, they actually identified 3 that they shoot down. So in the press conference, they told that they have shot down 3 Rafale, and probably that those out of these 5, they have misinterpreted, or their entire missile radar system misinterpreted through the deception India has used. They have thought that they have shot down 3 Rafale, but actually they have locked into 6 Rafale. 5 Rafales were actually saved. No damage was done, right? This is one deception they have used. So there's deception number 3, which I will show in the animation. But before that, I have to just give you a context of the deception number 3. So few of the Su-30 MKI fired the Rampage missile and was locked in by J-10C, and J-10C fired the missile, right? And this there was 4 Su-30 MKI, and the cover was given by Rafale. And when they're breaking out, so they drop the Rampage missile, and they do a high maneuver G breakout. So the breakout happens, And once the breakout happens, because they will shoot the missile, so they will not be a concentrated. So all the fighter jets, like combination of Rafale and the cover, the sorry, the Su-30 MKI were firing the Rampage, and the few of the Rafale who are covering those or giving those reinforcement. Once the bomb is dropped, they will do a breakout. Breakout means dispersion, like spanning out, and they will slightly. I mean, they will just go out, like diverging, right? Divergence of that entire spectrum, so that Pakistan radar can lock only one and not multiple targets. Now, in doing so, all the SU and Rafale was slightly dispersed, right? And couple of Rafale got locked by PL-15 missile. Now, when they saw that it is locked in the cockpit, all the anti-missile warning was providing the information, and they were communicating to the other friends, right? I am being locked. I am being locked. Can you help me out? Because Su-30 MKI doesn't have any deception. And its missile is 70 kilometer. BBR missile is 70, and their rule of engagement is just to evade, right? Not to engage. So they cannot do anything. They have to do counter maneuver, and it's very difficult. And they know that it's PL-15. The range is 250 kilometer, and the closing range is very short, right? It will be like within 50-60 kilometer. So they know that they are within kill zone, and it's very difficult to go out of kill zone, given that Su-30 MKI has a lot of power in their engine, and it's a vector thrust vector kind of engine. So still they realize that it is difficult to save their asset. So they called the Rafale. Now, some of the Rafale which got dispersed, couple of Rafale, two Su-30 MKI got locked in. So two Rafale came, and they actually saved them by like a mother, like putting their arms around the child, right? Saving from any other external threat. Like that, Rafale came close to the Su-30 MKI. They were dispersed. Again, they came, and they created a bubble of EW warsuit. Like Rafale has spectra, right? I shown that in earlier depiction, that it has a spectra, and it has around spatial diameter of around say 50 meter, and they actually came very close to the Su-30 MKI and given that cover bubble, and all those PL-15 missile which was locked into the Su-30 MKI were actually jammed by Rafale spectra, the electronic warsuit. So if you see the list of Veer Chakra given, if you see that there is a depiction that one of the Rafale pilots saved.
So this is a complicated deception number 3. So here what we are showing is, let me also put my laser. This is where I show so this is a depiction of deception used by Rafale Spectra EW suite. So what has happened, these are the Sukhoi 30 MKI which has fired Rampage towards Pakistan terrorist side, and it is returning back, such tail chase. So now JF-70s are after them, and they are creating a kill chain. They are trying to create a kill chain. Now, so let's go one by one. So first, two JF-17 locked Su-30 MKI to fire a missile, which is PL-15. Now this is happening when obviously they have fired the Rampage, and they have taken a high G maneuver, and they are coming towards the Indian base, and they have dispersed, right? They have slightly dispersed from the formation. Now when they are in emergency, they did a radio transmission to all the mostly the Rafale that we are being locked by J10C. Please help us. Now the Rafale comes from other side, and these two Rafales actually guard the two Su-30 MKI which has been locked. Now they actually, if you see, the Rafale actually enable the Spectra EW suite, and what it does, it actually mimics the Su-30 MKI. So this is the original Su-30 MKI. Now this Rafale creates a imaginary Su-30 MKI in this position. Same this Rafale is doing in this position, and JF-17's radar are getting confused, right? Because whether this one is the right Su-30 MKI or this one is the right Su-30 MKI. Since it is a stronger or more high band low signature based signal, and which is a high observability signal, the radar locked into the fake Su-30 MKI. Now the radar locked into the fake Su-30 MKI, and they fired the PL-15 missile. Now PL-15 missile, and this is a wrong locking. So instead of locking this one, now they lock a fake image of Su-30 MKI, which is being created by Spectra EW suite of Rafale. Now the PL-15 comes very close to the fake image. They are chasing a fake image, and suddenly Rafale disengage the EW suite, Spectra EW suite, and suddenly again this PL-15 missile lost the lock. So this red color is a lock is lost, and then they are chasing the ghost frequency, and they miss the target, right? So this is the deception number 3, which Indian Air Force has used to much to its effectiveness, absolutely effectiveness. There is no such, to be honest, there is no such doctrines or SOPs. In fact, France Rafale, France Air Force has actually asked Indian Air Force to provide this knowledge, how they have done that entire. So we are using Rafale for almost 4 years, and French is using Rafale for almost 15 years, right? Almost 15 years if I take all the version, right? Still they have not got these doctrines. So it's a wonderful innovation, improvisation, jugaad, whatever you can say, to create this deception number 3 on 6th night.
Now I will discuss on deception number 4, which is a very complicated deception, which was evolved in the first day war, and which was obviously fine-tuned subsequently by our Cobra team, which creates the tactics, airfare tactics for Indian Air Force. So it is the Cobra group which decides or which defines the tactics. So this is a very complicated deception, or I will say a formation deception, that has been used by Indian Air Force slightly on day 1, which is 6th and 7th night, and also after 2 or mostly on 10th night, right? 10th night, where we attack them with BrahMos. So we use this technique.
So now we'll move into deception number 4, which is again slightly more complex, right? It is the complex component, and I don't know how to explain in a normal way, right, for the layman term. So let me try. So this is J10C, and they are in a line Aston formation, and this is Indian formation. So I am giving I'm giving an example probably to explain you. It is slightly complicated than what the way I am explaining. So this is Indian border or LOC, and this is the J10C are in a line Aston formation, which is an attack formation, and this is again this is a Cobra EW formation, where you have, this can be multiple configuration, but I am giving you a very simple configuration, right? So you need a Su-30 MKI, so that is there, you have a Rafale, right here. It's a actual Rafale, and this is the Tejas MK1. Tejas MK1. And this yellow color is what you are saying is the fake Rafale. So this is the fake Rafale created by the EW Spectra. So you have real 3 aircraft and 1 fake aircraft, and these 4 together creates a left hand finger formation. So it's also an attack formation. Now Tejas MK1, the objective of this formation is to have a network centric mixed integrated package with network centric layered defense and offense approach, where you are using multiple assorted fighter crafts, like you have Su-30 MKI, Rafale and Tejas, which have different capabilities, right? And these are connected via network system. All these planes are connected via network. This is a fake plane, obviously. And J10C, these 4 planes are coming, right? Actually 3 planes are coming. Now Tejas MK1 has a low observability, so it is not visible clearly by radar. The objective of this fake image is it can change position. I will show you how it changes position and the formation changes, and J10C become confused, right? This is a core node sensor fusion which mimics the signature, like it can mimic the signature of Rafale, it can mimic the signature of any other aircraft. And this is the Su-30 MKI, which obviously provides the agility to the entire formation. Now the entire J10C is confused which one to target, because they are throwing different signals, so they are unable to understand which is the core formation and how is the core formation and which plane to target. Next, what happens, this fake image moves towards backwards, and this becomes a weak formation. So from left hand finger formation, by changing the image, the fake image, the mirror image of Rafale, change the entire formation, and this will obviously confuse the J10C. Simultaneously, the entire scanning, guidance, then tracking, everything is being done by different aircrafts, and this entire package of J10C cannot understand that role of this individual fighter, because they are in a network centric based formation, like, and also they have different packages. I'm just coming to that packages in the next slide. So this Su-30 MKI has a BVR 37 kilometer range, 70 kilometer range. Main note Rafale has a range of 70 kilometer VVR and also 1110 kilometer VVR for Meteor 1. And also this one is Astra MK1. This guide and track. So you see that this entire tactic, Cobra EW tactic, is a deceptive tactic, but a core formation, tactical formation, which provides you a high degree of integrated network, integrated package with network centric layer of defense and offense. It can defend in a network centric warfare. It can attack in a network centric warfare. So on 6th night, this technique was used to a mild degree, but on 10th night, this was modified and improvised, and it was effective when the BrahMos was actually thrown at or fired towards Pakistan. And this entire formation was actually key or absolutely brilliant in creating those disguise for the Pakistan radar, right?
So now I will talk about situation 3, where we lost probably at Rafale due to hydraulic failure, not due to PL-15 hitting our Rafale. So this is my estimate. I am going slightly away from what government stand did, but I agree on the government stand.
So now I will discuss on. So I talked about 6 Rafales being locked on. So 5 Rafales, out of those 5 Rafales, all the X-Guard worked fine, and that PL missile, the PL-15 missile was actually deceived and fooled and some exploded and some fail on Indian side. I will give those accountability, like how many fail on our side and all those things, right? Now, let me provide you with a situation, right? I call it situation 3. So, deception 1, I shown you. Deception 2, I shown you. Deception 3 also I discussed. Now, I'm going to situation 3, where um, you will see that out of those 6 Rafale, 1 Rafale had some issues. I mean, that is not due to PL-15. I will show in the screen. So, let's focus on the screen now. So the same situation, the 6th Rafale, 5 Rafale was has deployed X-Guard and was fine, and now we are going to 6th Rafale. So 6th Rafale is flying, and we have same J10C, the same situation. I'm just mimicking the situation. You have a terrain ground, and now once I am going to the standoff distance, I am climbing, keeping a buffer zone and the standoff distance, and once I reach the standoff height, I fired the Scalp missile, Scalp or maybe any missile, right? Rampage, Hammer missile, it can be Hammer missile. And once I fired the Scalp or the Hammer missile, the X-Guard has been deployed, and I just take a high G maneuver, and then it's still going on, and suddenly the J10C or J17 locked Rafale, but it is not locking the Rafale, it is again locking the X-Guard. That's the challenge, right, for Pakistan, deception challenge. So again, PL-15 got fired, and PL-15 is following the X-Guard, and Pakistan radar is thinking that it is chasing a Rafale, but actually it is chasing the X-Guard, right? Now again, this is PL-15 chasing. Now what has happened, this is my estimate based on the radar data, based on the infrared signature and all other things, that when the PL-15 just came in the proximity of the X-Guard, and that time something happened. I can assure you that the PL-15 obviously exploded, but it didn't do any harm, except few splinter flew from PL-15, and probably, I don't know, this is my estimate. So let's see what happened. The Rafale pilots try to retract and disable the X-Guard, and there is a problem. So retraction failed, probably at the distance of 25 to 50 meters, or probably the entire thing got disabled. And in turn, what it does was it gave PL-15 to keep on locked on to the X-Guard, and then simultaneously missile lock lost and proximity fuel fuse activated. So missile lock was lost, that was disabled due to the Rafale pilot disengaging the X-Guard, and simultaneously the PL-15 was so close that the proximity fuse activated and there is an explosion. Now the question comes, this is where I don't have any answer, that so I have few answers. I will not say that I don't have any answers. So based on the radar image I saw, again I am not showing those radar image because of national security. Based on the radar image, I found Rafale to be so if a missile hits a Rafale, its infrared signature will increase, the Kelvin per gradient will increase, simultaneously the blob will increase, the hit radiation blob will increase, infrared signature, the overall blob will increase. So I'm not seeing that. It's like as usual, right? Business as usual. So I don't think so anything has happened, except probably two things might happen. The retraction of the X-Guard might have caused some damage to the plane, and there was some hydraulic failure. Absolutely, there was some hydraulic failure. That I guess that is the cause, and the hydraulic failure might be because of two reasons. One, which is more probabilistic, that while retracting the egg guard, there might be some damage being inflicted to the rafale plane, and because of that the hydraulic leak happened and plane was not responding to pilot's command, right? That can be one. Second can be some splinter, though it didn't hit the plane, some splinter might flew and hit the or punctured the rafale's I will say hydraulic line. I don't know it's a fly-by-wire architecture or what type of architecture Rafale is, but it has impact. It might impact the hydraulics, and that's why that Rafale was not responding properly to pilot's command. So these are the two possibility. But to be honest, to be honest with all of you, that this PL-15 didn't hit Rafale. If it hit Rafale, then infrared signature would have jumped significant, or there would have been a two split signature, and that didn't happen either. So I am 100% sure that it didn't hit Rafale. What it did actually is there was some hydraulic failure at these 13,000 feet. The height is around 13,000 feet, and then this is my second guess that splinter might hit hydraulic. It flew with the same trajectory. It was like flying, right? Because if there was a hit, the trajectory will change randomly. It will have a very high descent rate, or maybe the plane is divided into two, or there will be some delta changes that will happen in the overall radar signature. I didn't see anything like that. So it flew for certain duration, and then it gradually, or maybe very significant descent rate I saw. Either Rafale pilot was trying to land the plane, or there is an uncontrollable spin that happened. That is cannot be verified. And I am thinking that these Rafale, most probably there is a, I don't think so, 20-30 probability is Rafale crash landed. There is a possibility, but I don't think so. The major probability is that Rafale was uncontrollable, and hence the pilot has to eject, and Rafale crashed, and we lost the Rafale. So that is where I don't have any answer. What I have answered is that PL-15 or Pakistan didn't hit, so they cannot claim that. And also the three Rafale, they have given the bearings in terms of location where they have hit, and that location didn't match this Rafale. So I don't see that to be an issue. So I think so that this Rafale has been in some kind of technical problem after retraction failed, and it might have damaged the hydraulics or some flight avionics or flight control, not flight avionics like radar or all other things. And then it was uncontrollable. The flight was not in a proper trajectory. It went for a few seconds in a proper trajectory, but it's after that it seems that pilot was not in control of the Rafale, or he's willing to land in a very aggressive way, in a high descent rate, right? So that's what happened. And then I don't have any radar data beyond 1,000 feet, so I cannot guarantee that okay, it was crash landed or it was a controlled landing. I don't have any idea. So that's situation number 3, where I see that there might be a possibility of Rafale loss due to technical or hydraulic failure, and not due to PL-15 or any kind of Pakistan hit. That's how I see in that.
So we have seen in the scenario 3 that or situation 3 that there was some technical problem in Rafale due to retraction failure of X-guard, and consequently there was a hydraulic failure. And though PL-15 did explode, but it exploded quite like around 50-meter back of the Rafale, and I don't think so that has any bearing to that. there is a possibility that some splinter might flew and punctured the hydraulic, but obviously it will not be a kill, right? It will not be technically a kill. Neither the location is matching with what Indian Pakistan Air Force Center of Gravity told. So this is what my I will say estimate based on the data. Now I will go to another situation 4 where actually there was a hit. Actually, this is a success what Pakistan claims, but I don't know whether it's a MiG-29 or Su-30 MKI. This is what my data suggests. That let's go to the situation 4 in the screen and see what has happened. So this is where again that this situation 4 MiG-29 UPG or Su-30 MKI I don't know, but uh, it was a kill and it was done through a kill chain. I explained earlier. If somebody is not aware of what is kill chain, have to go to chapter number 3 where I have mentioned what is kill chain, right? So Su-30 MKI, actually let's call it Su-30 MKI because I don't have that categorization, because both the planes have similar kind of radar cross section RCS, so I couldn't differentiate the radar data. So let's assume that it is let's assume it's 30 MKI because I'm representing it that way. So what has happened, right? So 30 MKI went to say Muritke, dropped the rampage bomb, and it was coming back. Now pilot of this Su-30 MKI and also ground station knew that Pakistan have PL-15E export variant of PL-15, which has a range of around 150 kilometers, right? And entire calculation, the standoff distance, no escape zone for PL-15E, and all those, how much they want to go, and all the timing was estimated based on the entire assumption, right? Other assumption was that there might be a kill chain, but it will not be a 360-degree kill chain. Like they have not estimated that Chinese satellite will give them a real-time feed of the data and also real-time kill chain data, right? It's a very complex integration process, and probably Saab, who is the provider of AWACS for Pakistan Air Force, will not share the radar data or the radar integration data to Chinese, right? This all has to be integrated, and all the formats and all those things has to be are very confidential, and obviously Sweden sub is on the opposite lobby of Chinese. So that was an assumption or intelligence assumption. I don't know, but military has to go with certain degree of I will say calculation, right? So entire thing was there, and once Su-30 MKI pilot dropped the bomb and just in a just returning to base, and obviously they locked on J10C. If you just see that, I'm just showing in the screen. Let's check in the screen. So this is Su-30 MKI now, and obviously this is the ground radar. This J10C. This is JF-17. This is AWACS, and this is Chinese satellite. And this is the red line is the LOC or international border. Now we have given a standoff distance. I don't know the stand. I will not declare the standoff distance now. This is the standoff distance, and this is the PL-15E kill zone or the no escape zone. So the Su-30 MKI, if being locked by PL-15E, has to cover this distance, and the estimated distance is probably around 75 kilometer from if I just take it, it will be from standoff distance. So from standoff distance, so I just fired the rampage missile, then I will return with a high maneuver of high G maneuver, and then the distance between the standoff range and the actual kill zone. This is the kill zone or no escape zone. So I have to cross this 75 kilometer quickly. Otherwise, this PL-15E will kill me, right? That's the overall assumption. So let's see what has happened. So Su-30 MKI has dropped the bomb. and then AVAX has detected. AVAX was scanning the entire space, and AVAX has detected that Su-30 MK has dropped the bomb, and they need to destroy it or hit it, right? So now what AVAX did? AVAX sent the coordinates to the JF-17, right? So pass through coordinates. JF-17 sent the locking coordinates to J10C. So now what happens? J10C fires the PL-15 missile. Now PL-15 missile has been fired, and actual tracking is being done by AVAX, and the guidance is somehow provided by the Chinese satellite. Now here, I mean, if I just go one frame below, this is the area Su-30 MKI has to cover. This portion, this dotted line, Su-30 MKI has to cover to go to the beyond the no escape zone, so that this is the safe zone, right? This is the safe zone they have calculated, and Su-30 MKI has to go in this space. But what is happening is they understood that they have done a miscalculation. This PL-15E, which they were thinking has a range of 150 kilometers, they are not PL-15E. Instead, they are PL-15, which has a larger range, 250. And obviously, the kill zone will also increase. If the range increases, the kill zone will also increase. No escape zone. So now the updated kill zone is here, right? Su-30 MKI was thinking the kill zone is here or the no escape zone is here. Once it crossed that no escape zone, PL-15E missile will not have enough fuel to kind of reach that, right? Now still it is gazing like what is happening right now. Now once the PL-15 comes, like in the picture, that in the entire calculation, the PL-15 kill zone increases. So this is the kill zone or no escape zone. Now Su-30 MKI has to cross this. Now it does different kind of maneuver. So now this maneuver is done, high G maneuver is done uh, to force missile to do a similar kind of maneuver, which will eat away the fuel, right? It will eat away the most of the fuel of PL-15. At this juncture, the Su-30 MKI pilot knew that it is the missile that is chasing, it is PL-15 and not PL-15E. And it takes a high G maneuver and went up so that the distance it can cover, and PL-15 has to do a maneuver so that its fuel is consumed more fast, right? So PL-15 also followed. But now what happens that the pilot understood that it is difficult to chase because still the kill zone or the no escape zone is quite far and it will hit the aircraft. So he ejected. Now the question comes, the Su-30 MKI, which is an Su-30 MKI, it's a it's a twin engine aircraft, but there are two pilots, right? In Su-30 MKI, there are two pilots. In MiG-29, there's one pilot, but both are twin engine aircraft. I think if it is a Su-30 MKI, two pilots have to be ejected because there are two pilots. If it's a MiG-29, one pilot will eject, right? So here the pilot ejects and it hits the Su-30 MKI / MiG-29. This is the situation probably which matches with whatever Pakistan Air Force has provided all the location bearings and all the data. If I take that with a pinch of salt, I guess this is the one that is matching, and this is the one they have done with the kill chain, and that's not Rafale. It's either MiG-29 or Su-30 MKI. So that is the assessment of mine in terms of situation 4. There is, we'll now go to like the summary, like what we have done, how many assets we lost, and how many assets we have destroyed from Pakistan. Now let's see what is the summary status, right? We have to just see how many they got in terms of kill, in terms of downing, whatever they have claimed, and what is my assessment, and how many we have destroyed their assets, right? Let's focus on the screen. So in the press conference on 7th evening, they have given data that they have downed 3 Rafales. They have downed one MiG-29 and they have downed one Su-30 MKI and one UAV. So 5 aircrafts, one UAV. But actual, if I have to just go to the actual, no Rafale was hit. No Rafale. These 3 Rafales, what they have provided, the data they have given that these are the bearings, I don't agree on that. The entire data is wrong, and those are deception data. Like all the X card they have locked in, Rafale X card they have locked in, they have provided those, but actually they have not hit any Rafale. Now the question comes on an additional Rafale which has some technical difficulties at 13,000 feet, and it went through some hydraulic failure because of either retraction of X guard didn't work properly. We have to see, or probably military is saying that whether it's a problem of Rafale integration with X guard or it's a problem of X guard, that we don't know, or it's a pilot error that has to be investigated. But either of these has happened, right? Either Rafale integration with X guard was not successful, or X guard had some failure or challenge, or pilot did that retraction too early or too late. We have to see that. But that Rafale didn't had any hit. It is purely a hydraulic leak error problem. That Rafale flew properly for few seconds. Like few seconds means almost a minute, and then it did some kind of probably when you have a hydraulic leak, you have some control over the aircraft. Now, once all the hydraulics leak happens, like it takes few seconds, like 30-40 seconds, that all the hydraulic fluid like move or empty the entire fluid system, like hydraulic fluid system. It takes some time, say 1 minute. And once entire hydraulic fluid is gone out of the system, then probably the joystick or whatever control system becomes too snaggy or too, I will say, hard or draggy to kind of control anything. And then we see a high descent rate, right? Now, if that PL-15 hit that Rafale, two things would have happened. One was the high infrared signature. I didn't got that. There's no high infrared signature, and the trajectory would have been a different, the point of it, but it didn't happen like that. The plane was going like this. There was some explosion. Plane went like this, as if nothing has happened. And after 1 minute, there was some problem, and that there was a high descent rate and high sink rate, and the flight or the aircraft went down the radar. So this is my estimation. So this is absolutely wrong. One MiG-29, again, that was they have given, it was wrong completely. It was deceived by either Bansi or Abhyas. We don't know that, but that was again a deception, right? There's multi-deception. There's one deception they have fooled by Indian Air Force. One UAV, I agree on the count, one UAV again, but whatever location they have given, it's absolutely wrong. The location is different. So in summary, they have hit only one, which is the Su-30 MKI / MiG-29, which I told, and they have hit through kill chain, 360-degree kill chain. And obviously the 4 aircrafts was absolutely wrong. So I will say it's an 1-0. And if you consider UAV, again, I will not consider UAV because there are a lot of UAVs. It's very difficult to take it as an asset, pure play asset. Fighter aircraft is an asset, force multiplier, but UAV is not an asset. So I will consider 1-0, right? So that 6-0 Rafale, 6-0 Rafale, they have not said 6-0 Rafale. Why we are saying 6-0 Rafale? They have said 3 Rafale. And I'm proving that 3 Rafale are wrong interpretation. 1 Rafale that is lost. Again, there's a confusion whether it's a purely lost or there's a crash landing. I don't know that. The 2 data I can share. The CEO of Rafale said that we had some technical difficulties, and it was like 2 months back. Rafale CEO said that we know that there is some technical difficulty at a high altitude, the Rafale, and Rafale crashed. So I agree on that. I probably agree on that. But 2 days back, TWA actually uh, uh, TWA they actually uh, maintain a directory of all the international fighter aircrafts which are lost. So as per Rafale's data across the world, so combat loss they have shown zero. So they only TWA only recognize combat zone. So it is the combat. Um, so the data which is provided by TWA to TWA by Dassault is combat loss. So they have provided combat loss is zero. So again, that my data always is actually linking to that it is not a combat loss. It is a technical loss if there is a loss any, right? I cannot confirm on the actual it's a total loss or there's a crash landing happened. But obviously, if it's a loss, it is not a kill or not a combat loss. It might be a technical loss. So we have seen enough. I have given you enough evidence on um, what they have said and what I perceive, and whatever I see is based on data evidence. I cannot share the evidence with anybody. Yes, any official from Indian government, if they ask that to share the evidence, I can share. But to my knowledge, there is no combat loss of any Rafale. There is probably one Su-30 MKI slash MiG-29 that was a kill, and that was done through kill chain. Now coming to Pakistan's loss, right? Let's go to Pakistan loss. So we have discussed on number of assets India lost, only just one, and they have claimed five aircrafts, and according to my data, it is just one, which is either MiG-29 or Su-30 MKI. Now let's see how many assets they lost, and this is specifically on 10th night. So they have not lost any assets on 6th and 7th because we have not engaged. I told that in previous chapters that we have specifically put a constraint on us that we will not engage on that day because of obviously the escalation ladder related to escalation ladder. Now we have destroyed their assets on 7th, 8th, 9th, mostly radars and all other things. Not the aircrafts. But today we'll talk about 10th night, 11th morning, where we actually carried another operation, which was BrahMos. With most used warhead was BrahMos, targeting their 11 military bases, and which obviously India claimed, but actually it is 17 military bases. So 6, I guess, Indian government has not mentioned in the press conference. So they have mentioned only 11 military bases, but additionally they have targeted 6 military bases, which has not been documented in Indian press conference. However, if we see that in the radar as well as not radar, it's publicly available. They have provided those tender data. Like they have asked for tender, and if you see the tender data, and they've mentioned that these are the sites which has been destroyed by upcoming this current operation Badr or something like that. They have called their operation, and in those they have mentioned those sites, like what are the things, hangars, number of hangars, and then they have hit a lot of UAV hangars, then ammunition depots. Then you have some degree of small control areas, uh, command and control, not the one that I'm talking about, Noor Khan, but at least there are small control areas they have actually destroyed. But that has not been mentioned in Indian press conference. So let us now see what we have hit in terms of aircrafts and other things. So if you just look at the screen, I'm showing that PL-15, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 PL-15 has been jammed by AWACS and mostly AWACS, Netra MKI, which is our AWACS. So it's jammed by Netra. So it's not very much sure that if all the PL-15 is being jammed by Netra, or some has been jammed by Spectra, that is Rafale's EW suite. But these are all the 6 has been jammed, and all these 6 fell on Pakistan soil, right? I have given the coordinates of those, right? Then there were 5 kills, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5 JF-17 Block C that has been targeted. Some was targeted by S-400, some were targeted by Akash Sam. One was not, I cannot identify whether it was something from India, or there's a lot of chaos happening and it's very difficult. So if you see that, coming to the JF-17, if you see that we have targeted 5 JF-17, and I have given all the coordinates. All the coordinates are there. These all are being hit by Indian missile, either S-400, Akash Sam, or either Akash Sam or S-400. One was not identified. I couldn't identify because there was a lot of chaos, and probably it can be some of either of these, S-400 or Akash Sam. So again, this reiterate that we didn't kill any aircraft using our BVR capability, because we don't have any BVR capability, to be honest. We have BVR capability of 70 kilometer and they have around 250 kilometers. So we cannot reach them. So it's not question of how I can hit them with 70-kilometer BVR capability. Again, this fact Indian government has to fix immediately. That's so that either our Astra Mk2 is quickly integrated with all the platforms, then Meteor 1 and 2 quickly integrated with Rafale. So this has to be done. Otherwise, we will have a very poor, then we have a discussion with Russia on R-37M, which has a very long range air-to-air capability. So we have to integrate that with Sukhoi and also with MiG-29. So we have to immediately, on a war footing, we have to integrate those missile, air-to-air missile with all those platforms, so that all the platforms we have some edge over Pakistan in terms of BVR capability. So that's for sure. Now coming to, so 5 JF-17 we killed, right, through our air defense system. Then F-16. Okay, that's an important thing. Indian government has told 4 JF-17, but according to my data, it is 5 JF-17. So 1 JF-17 more. Okay, then I see that J-10C has not been mentioned in Indian press conference, or India has not accepted or not put that in a official statement. But I have given that there was 1 kill by S-400 probably, and it is near Kot Mithan, Pakistan. I have given all the coordinates. So this coordinate is in different format because I have to work on the actual crash site with all the geotag, my data, and also the geotag pictures, some of the pictures, try to match that, and it is being hit by S-400. So there is a hit of J-10C. I don't know whether Indian government, I know that I guess they knew that, but there might be certain degree of constraint or certain degree of restraint, I will say, rather the restraint word is most appropriate here. So certain degree of restraint from Indian government, that they should not declare J-10C as a hit, because there might be, they might put China on the spot of bother, right? Because JF-17 is a Pakistani made Chinese aircraft. China doesn't have any stake to that because they don't fly JF-17. But J-10C is a Chinese aircraft, and I see a 10C being hit, and I've given the location, but Indian government has not mentioned in their press briefing or in any form of informal communication. So I guess they want to put that under the carpet. Might be, I don't know. F-16 to hit. There are 2 F-16 that being hit by Rafale. One being Rafale or Su-30 MKI, that we are not sure, and other being Rafale. And this has been hit by kill chain. So India has also performed a kill chain. It's a poetic justice. So they try to kill multiple aircraft by kill chain, mostly Rafale, but Rafale can handle kill chain. Rafale can handle 360-degree kill chain, but since Su-30 MKI doesn't have that radar capability, or the jamming capability, and also the anti-missile warning system sensor, so that we couldn't save that. But these F-16 BL-52-5, what I have identified as, these has been killed by kill chain by Indian Armed Forces. So our Netra MK1 was providing all the data, and also our satellite was providing the data. And we have jammed all Chinese satellite, right? We have that day on 10th, before 10th, we have jammed Chinese satellite. We have jammed AWACS, the Pakistan AWACS. So that was extreme. That is one of the technology marvel, or the tactics we will discuss in subsequent episode, what we have done, right? So that is a very important thing that will be uh, mm, taught in different warfare school, how we have done that kind of marvel by jamming the Chinese satellite, as well as the Chinese or the AWACS and the AWACS, right? And the AWACS. So two F-16 was killed, and AWACS, one AWACS. I mean, this AWACS, everyone know that S-400 is the highest or the longest kill by any platform, longest air kill by any platform. It's a Guinness Book of World Record, though Guinness doesn't put this in their record, but this is kind of, it's a world record in terms of. So these are the true kills, right? So let's forget about the PL-15. So 5 JF-17, 1 J-10, so 6, and 2 F-16, 8, and 1 AWACS, 9. So 9, so 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yes, 9 kills happened in air. So this is true kills, right? It is happening in air, or happened in air through our system, our platform. So I can call it, still it's counting, right? I will go to the next page and try to see what we have additionally killed on ground. So let's go to the next slide. Okay, these are the PL-15 or 6th and 7th early morning. I have tried to depict the accountability of that, estimated accountability of PL-15E 6, 7, 9. So they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So these are the so targeted Rafale decoyed, targeted Rafale 2 decoyed, targeted Rafale 3 decoyed, targeted Rafale 4 Indian airspace, decoyed X-Guard, error in retraction. This I was talking to. Targeted S-30 MKI MiG-29 Indians possible as enlisted Park press conference, which is decoyed, as well as this was the hit. I mean, this remarks is wrong. So this was a hit, and they have mentioned this correctly. This was again decoyed by this one, the last, but so the pre-last one, the targeted Su-30 MKI, and it was again decoyed by Bansi and or Abhyas. And no, I mean, I'm sorry. So again, these are all documented in press conference, but not kill. So Abhyas, decoyed by Abhyas. And this is one kill that happened, right? This PL-15, actually we thought this is a PL-15, let's assume it's a PL-15 and not PL-15E. This was actually a kill chain kill, and that was a kill fell in India. This entire aircraft fell in India. So this is all we have for the PL-15E, PL-15. So now what we have destroyed on ground. On ground we have destroyed, this is the screenshot we have taken from NDTV. So it's a Jacobabad F-16 hangar. So we have fired a couple of BrahMos there, and one BrahMos, actually not this one, obviously that is a command center BrahMos. I will come to that. So we have fired two BrahMos in here, and one or two skull probably, and it actually destroyed the MRO and the MRO bay, right? And estimated 6 F-16 on MRO and 12 to 15 M-16 on bay. So estimated loss is around 6 to 7 F-16 on ground. So in total on ground, we have lost 6 to 7 F-16, right? So here we had, in this scenario, we had 9 on air, 9 aircraft on air. Now we have to add, let's call it 9. Let's take the maximum one. So 9, and here we have 7 kills on. So 9 plus 7 is 16, right? 16 total kills right now. Then what we have killed? This is again an AVAX, which we killed in Bholari Airbase. Again, this was killed when it was going through a overall, because they were actually operating 2 AVAX. One AVAX was going remaining in air for 12 hours and providing the Pakistan Air Force all the intel and all those things, and that AVAX is coming down and going for maintenance, and another AVAX is again going in air to provide the same. So that night probably these AVAX came down around 12 o'clock in the midnight and was scheduled for a maintenance in the MRO base or the Bholari hangar, and probably next that day 6 to 7 a.m. in the morning it will again will just take a flight. But before it could take a flight and it was in the hangar doing some kind of going through some kind of maintenance, we actually fired BrahMos. So that BrahMos came and hit that hangar, and this entire sub AVAX destroyed. So now we have 9 plus 7, 16 plus 1, 17. So total 17 assets according to my count that has been destroyed. So 9 on air. So 9 on air means 5 JF-17, 1 J-10, 2 F-16, and 1 AVAX on air. And on ground, 6 to 7 F-16 they lost in the hangar, and 1 AVAX they lost. So this is the summary of the assets they lost, around 17. So this is as per my estimate.
Provide the details. It's more detailed format where I have provided the tail number. So JF-17 tail number, I have provided all the tail numbers. Now they have provided their one ex Pakistan Air Marshal has provided with some wrong tail numbers of Rafale. 3 tail number they have provided. That is, if I am not wrong, I have provided, or I have done a detailed video on that. BS1001, BS0020, BS001, BS022, or BS023. Right now, BS001 is incorrect. Tail number of Rafale, first Rafale. The first Rafale tail number was BD01, which is named after or RB01. It is named after our ex Air Chief Rakesh Bhadoria. So the first Rafale tail number was wrong, and the other 2 tail number they have provided are from Hasimara Air Base, and Hasimara Air Base Rafale has not taken part in the Operation Sindoor, and those 2 BS 022 and 23 probably, those 2 are also took part in November COP 25 2025 year war with US, right? So that's what I have. Now JF-17, I have provided all the tail number. These are the tail number which we have down. All the 5 JF-17 tail number. I will give that in the separately in the screen. Then we have also have the J-10C. I have only shown one J-10C which has been down with the tail number 22103. There is another J-10C not down, which is hit, but it landed in Rawalkot Air Base. It landed in Rawalkot Air Base, but it was hit by our missile. I am not sure about the missile, which missile, but it has been hit. But it landed in Rawalkot Air Base with tail number 221106. Then I am also giving you the tail number of F-16 which we downed, 2 F-16, tail number 84707 which is from 11th Squadron, and tail number 10901 which is from 5th Squadron. And so this entire detailed data has been again authenticated from open source intelligence. So that's how I have the summary of the kills, right?